"I heard you want a wife. My daughter is perfect for you," said the Apache woman I helped. The sun was warm that morning as he walked along the dusty path leading to the small Apache village. The air smelled of pine and earth, and the distant sound of birds made the journey feel calm, almost peaceful. He had traveled many miles over the past few weeks, moving from town to town, helping people whenever he could. His heart had always leaned toward kindness. It was a principle he lived by. He believed that helping others, even in small ways, was one of the most meaningful things a person could do. As he approached the village, he noticed the people going about their daily tasks. Children ran barefoot across the dirt, laughing and playing with sticks they pretended were swords or horses. Women carried baskets filled with fruits, vegetables, and firewood. Men repaired fences, checked their livestock, or mended tools. The village was simple, quiet, and yet full of life, and he felt a strange sense of comfort walking among them, even though he was a stranger. He had heard about this village from other travelers. It was said that the people were kind and welcoming to those who came with respect, but they valued honesty and sincerity above all else. He knew that to earn their trust, he had to act with care and humility. So, as he walked through the village, he nodded politely to anyone who looked his way, offering smiles rather than words at first. Then, suddenly, a small commotion caught his attention near the stream at the edge of the village. He saw a woman struggling in the water, trying desperately to hold onto a slippery rock. Her basket had tipped over, scattering fruits and vegetables into the shallow stream, and she seemed frightened. Without thinking, he ran toward her, calling out to see if she needed help. "Hold on, I'm coming," he shouted. Villagers nearby froze, unsure if they should intervene, but he didn't wait. Carefully, he stepped into the stream, feeling the cold water rise around his ankles. With steady hands, he reached for her, grabbing her arm and pulling her toward the bank. She was startled at first, then relieved when she realized she was safe. "Thank you," she gasped, her voice trembling slightly. "I didn't think I could. I didn't expect anyone to notice so quickly." He smiled gently. "It's all right. Just be careful next time." The villagers, who had been watching silently, began murmuring among themselves. The elderly woman who seemed to lead the group stepped forward. Her face was kind but serious, with deep lines showing her years of experience and wisdom. She observed him closely, as though trying to understand the kind of person he truly was. "You helped her without hesitation," she said softly, almost to herself. Then she turned to him and said, "It is rare to see someone act so quickly for another without expecting something in return." He felt a little embarrassed but nodded politely. "I believe it's important to help whenever I can. Everyone deserves a hand when they need it." The elderly woman's eyes softened, and she gave a small nod of approval. Then, without saying more, she stepped back, allowing him to continue walking through the village. But he noticed that her gaze seemed to follow him, curious and assessing, as if she wanted to remember this man who had just come into their lives. After helping the woman to collect her scattered fruits and vegetables, he realized that this was the perfect chance to get to know the village. He offered to help carry the baskets, and she accepted gratefully. As they walked together, he learned small details about the village, how the people relied on each other, the traditions they followed, and the simple joys they found in everyday life. He spent the rest of the morning assisting where he could. He helped repair a broken fence, carried firewood for several households, and even played with the children, teaching them small games he had learned in his travels. The villagers began to warm up to him. Their initial curiosity shifted to cautious trust. They saw that he did not come with arrogance or selfishness, but with a genuine desire to help. By midday, the sun was high, and he felt a sense of contentment he had not felt in a long time. The village felt alive in a way that no town or city had before. People laughed freely, shared stories, and seemed connected in a way that made him both happy and reflective. He understood why travelers spoke highly of this place. The sense of community and mutual care was strong, and it left a lasting impression on anyone who witnessed it. As he rested near the stream, taking in the quiet rhythm of the village, the elderly woman approached him once more. She did not speak immediately. She watched him for a few moments, perhaps trying to understand his intentions and character more deeply. Then she spoke in a tone that was both gentle and firm. "You are not like the others who pass through," she said. "You act with kindness not because it is expected but because it comes from your heart. That is rare." He felt a deep sense of humility. "Thank you," he replied. "I only do what I can. Life is difficult enough, and helping one another makes it lighter for everyone." She nodded slowly, seeming satisfied with his answer. Then, to his surprise, she added with a small smile, "It is not often that we see such heart in a stranger. Remember this day, and remember the people here." He nodded, feeling that her words carried more meaning than he could yet understand. There was wisdom in her tone, a quiet knowledge that he would come to appreciate in time. As the afternoon passed, he continued assisting the villagers, learning more about their ways of life. Each small task felt meaningful, from carrying water to helping in the garden, from mending tools to sharing stories with the children. The village had become a small world in itself, and he was grateful to be a part of it, even briefly. When evening approached, the sky painted in shades of orange and pink, the villagers gathered for their daily rituals. Fires were lit, and the aroma of cooking food filled the air. He was invited to join, and he accepted gratefully. As they ate together, he noticed the elderly woman watching him again, a subtle but approving smile on her face. In that quiet moment, he felt a connection not only with the villagers but with the land itself. The kindness he had shown had created a ripple of trust and respect, and he realized that helping others was not just about performing tasks. It was about building relationships and understanding. By the time night fell, he found a place to rest in the village, feeling safe and welcomed. The sounds of the stream nearby and the soft murmur of the villagers settling in for the night created a peaceful atmosphere. He reflected on the day and realized that, in helping the woman by the stream, he had unknowingly stepped into a new chapter of life, one filled with unexpected connections and the possibility of meaningful relationships. Little did he know, this first act of kindness would mark the beginning of an extraordinary journey. The elderly woman's observant eyes and her quiet words hinted at events that would soon unfold, events that would bring him closer to a deeper understanding of the village, its people, and perhaps even love in ways he had never imagined. As he drifted off to sleep, the village settled into quiet harmony. The stars above shone brightly, and the gentle sound of the stream lulled him into a sense of peace. The day had been simple, yet profound, and he understood that even the smallest act of kindness could open doors to unimaginable opportunities. He had come as a traveler, a stranger, but he would wake as someone who had touched lives and, in turn, would have his life touched in ways that could change everything. The next morning, the sun rose gently over the village, casting a golden light over the dirt paths, small homes and fields that stretched beyond. He woke feeling refreshed, carrying a sense of purpose he hadn't known before. The previous day had been unexpected, yet remarkable. He had helped, he had connected, and somehow, in the quiet simplicity of the village, he had begun to feel that he belonged. As he stepped outside, the villagers were already busy with their routines. Children ran past him, laughing and playing games that involved jumping over sticks or chasing one another in circles. Women carried baskets to the market area, and men guided their livestock through the fields. The air was filled with a mixture of earthy smells and the warmth of early morning. He realized how different life here was from the towns he had passed through, where people often rushed, preoccupied with their own worries. Here, there was patience, attention, and a quiet sense of care that made even simple tasks feel important. He started helping again, offering to carry water to a woman who struggled with a heavy bucket. She hesitated at first, unsure if he was serious, but then smiled when she realized he genuinely wanted to help. "Thank you," she said. Not many people would stop and assist like this. "It is no trouble," he replied. "We all need help sometimes." The villagers began to notice his consistency. Unlike travelers who passed through, only staying for a day or two, he returned to help each morning, willing to lift, carry, or repair whatever was needed. Slowly, their initial curiosity shifted to trust. People began inviting him to join small tasks, asking for advice on repairs, or seeking his opinion on simple problems. He accepted with humility, never showing impatience or arrogance. During mid-morning, the elderly woman who had observed him the previous day approached once again. She walked with a measured pace, her eyes thoughtful. "You continue to help without being asked," she said. "You do not seek praise or reward. That is rare, especially in travelers." He shook his head softly, smiling. "I only do what feels right. If I can make life a little easier for someone else, why not?" Her eyes softened and she nodded. "It is good to have such heart." Sometimes those who give freely are rewarded in ways they do not expect. She paused, as if considering whether to speak further. Then she added almost quietly, "I heard you want a wife. My daughter is perfect for you." He froze. The words took him completely by surprise. He had never spoken of his personal life to anyone in this village. He had certainly not mentioned any desire for a wife. His mind raced, unsure whether this was a joke, a casual remark, or something deeply sincere. The elderly woman's gaze, however, was steady and serious. There was no hint of jest in her expression. I don't know what to say," he finally managed, trying to find the right words. "You do not need to speak immediately," she said gently. "Take your time. Observe, learn, and decide what your heart tells you." The mention of her daughter stayed with him the entire morning. He could not help but wonder about her, not in a superficial way, but in the sense of understanding what kind of person would grow up with such wisdom guiding her. He resolved that if he were to meet her, it would be with respect and genuine curiosity, not haste. Later that day, he noticed the woman's daughter working in the garden near the village's edge. She moved gracefully among the plants, tending to vegetables and flowers alike, her movements careful and precise. Her face was calm but focused, reflecting intelligence and thoughtfulness. He approached slowly, not wanting to startle her. "Hello," he said softly. She looked up, surprised but polite. "Hello," she replied. Her voice was clear, warm, and confident. "I am the traveler who helped your mother yesterday," he said. "I hope I did not cause trouble." She shook her head. "No trouble at all. Everyone is grateful for your help. My mother speaks highly of you." They began to talk in short exchanges, sharing small details about daily life in the village. He learned about the crops she tended, the rituals the villagers followed, and her favorite activities. She asked him about his travels, how he learned to help people, and why he chose to offer assistance without expecting anything in return. Each conversation felt genuine, natural, and surprisingly comfortable. Days passed, and their interactions became more frequent. He helped her with garden work, carried water, and sometimes repaired tools for her. In return, she shared her knowledge of plants, medicine, and village traditions. Through these small acts, a mutual respect grew. He admired her intelligence, patience, and dedication. She admired his sincerity, humility, and kindness. It was not love at first sight, but a deep, steady connection based on understanding and respect. One afternoon, while they rested by the stream, she spoke about life in the village. "People here value kindness and honesty more than wealth or possessions," she explained. "We trust those who show care without expecting reward, and we recognize those whose hearts are good." He nodded thoughtfully. "That is how I try to live. I believe in helping others whenever possible. Life is easier when people support each other." She smiled slightly. "You fit well here then. Not many outsiders would stay to help rather than just passing through. Your heart is rare. As the sun began to set, painting the sky in shades of orange and purple, the elderly woman watched them from a distance. She seemed pleased but thoughtful, as if considering the future carefully. That evening, she approached him quietly. "You are learning our ways," she said. "You are patient, respectful, and kind. These qualities will matter more than anything else if you are to be part of our lives." He nodded, feeling the weight of her words. "I hope to continue learning. There is much here that I do not yet understand." "Good," she replied. "Patience and respect are the foundation of trust. You will need both if you wish to know my daughter better." The next weeks were a blend of daily work, shared conversations, and growing understanding. The villagers began to accept him more openly. They shared meals, stories, and laughter. Children ran to him excitedly, asking for guidance in games or lessons. Every day, he learned more about the culture, traditions, and values that guided the village. Through it all, he never pressured or forced any connection with the daughter. He respected her space, listened to her thoughts, and offered help without expecting anything in return. Slowly, their bond strengthened. He realized that true relationships were not built on words alone but on actions, shared experiences, and understanding. One evening, as he helped repair a roof damaged by a recent storm, the daughter approached him with a small bundle of herbs. "For you," she said simply. "To thank you for all your help." He accepted it humbly, touched by the gesture. "Thank you," he said. "I only do what I can. Your kindness is greater than any reward I could receive." She smiled, and for a moment the world seemed to pause. The gentle sound of the wind through the trees, the distant laughter of children, and the quiet hum of the village created a serene atmosphere. In that moment, he understood that the connection he was forming with her was special, built not on chance alone but on mutual respect, care, and understanding. Even the elderly woman seemed pleased. She watched silently, knowing that their bond was growing naturally. She had seen many travelers come and go, many intentions hidden behind smiles or polite words. But this one was different. He acted from the heart, and she could see that his presence could change not only his life but also the life of her daughter and the village itself. As the nights grew calm and stars sparkled above the village, he reflected on the days that had passed. He realized that helping the villagers had led him to something far more meaningful than simple acts of kindness. It had opened the door to connections, trust, and the possibility of love built on respect and shared values. By the time the week ended, the villagers had come to rely on him as a friend and helper. The daughter's presence in his life was no longer a casual meeting, but a growing bond. Each shared smile, conversation, and act of kindness built a foundation for a relationship rooted in understanding and mutual respect. He knew the journey ahead would have challenges, learning new ways, understanding traditions, and navigating cultural differences. But he felt ready. With patience, respect, and an open heart, he understood that meaningful connections could be nurtured and trust could be earned. And above all, he felt that his life had taken a new, unexpected turn, one filled with promise and the potential for something truly remarkable. The days in the village had begun to feel familiar to him. Every morning, the sun would rise over the fields and homes, casting a warm, golden light across the paths he had come to know so well. He walked among the villagers with ease, offering help wherever it was needed. He had learned their routines, their small gestures of kindness, and the unspoken rules that guided life here. But amidst the work and daily tasks, his thoughts often wandered to the daughter of the elderly woman, the woman whose life seemed quietly intertwined with the village itself. He had grown to admire her more than he had expected. Her patience with the younger children, the care she showed for the plants she tended, and the thoughtful way she answered questions, all of it drew him in. She had a quiet strength that he found captivating, and he realized that their connection was becoming deeper. It was no longer just about helping or being polite. It had become about understanding each other's hearts and values. One morning, he found her sitting by the stream, washing vegetables for the day's meal. The sunlight caught her hair, making it shine like threads of gold, and her focus on the task gave her an air of quiet grace. He approached slowly, wanting to greet her but not wanting to disturb her concentration. "Good morning," he said softly. She looked up and smiled, her eyes reflecting warmth and recognition. "Good morning," she replied. "I see you are ready to help again." "I am," he said with a small smile. "What needs to be done today?" She paused, considering. "The fence near the northern field is weak. It needs repair before the livestock get out. Will you help me?" He nodded. "Of course." Together they walked to the northern field. As they worked side by side, hammering posts and tightening wires, they began to talk about their past experiences. She asked him about his travels, the towns he had visited, and the people he had met. He spoke honestly, describing the many acts of kindness he had witnessed and the challenges he had faced. "And what made you start helping people like this?" she asked, her voice gentle but curious. He paused for a moment, reflecting. "I suppose it comes from the belief that life is difficult for everyone. If we can make it easier for someone else, even in small ways, then our time here has meaning. It is not about reward or recognition. It is about compassion." She nodded thoughtfully. "I understand. That is how we live here as well. Helping each other is a way of life, not just a choice. You fit in more than you may realize." Her words touched him deeply. He felt a sense of belonging he had never known before. There was something about her perspective that resonated with his own beliefs, and he realized that their connection was more than coincidence. It was as if their values and hearts had found each other naturally. As the days passed, he continued to work closely with her. They tended to the fields together, repaired tools, and sometimes simply sat by the stream, talking about their hopes and dreams. Through these conversations, he learned about her life, her family, and the values that guided her decisions. She spoke of her mother with respect and love, describing how she had learned patience, kindness, and wisdom from her. He shared his own experiences as well, the lessons he had learned from his travels, and the people who had inspired him to continue helping others. Their discussions were never forced. They flowed naturally, building a bond based on understanding and shared ideals. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows across the village, the elderly woman called him to her side. Her expression was serious yet kind. "You have grown close to my daughter," she said, her voice calm but firm. "It is clear that you respect her and her ways. That is important. But know this, true connections are tested not by words alone but by actions, patience, and understanding." He listened intently, nodding. "I understand. I want to learn and understand as much as I can. I do not wish to rush anything." She smiled faintly. "Good. The right bond will come with time, honesty, and respect. Keep your heart open and your intentions clear." Her words stayed with him. He realized that his connection with her daughter was growing, but it would require more than admiration or curiosity. It required patience, humility, and a willingness to embrace the challenges that life in the village sometimes presented. A few days later, an opportunity to test this bond arrived. A sudden storm swept through the village, bringing strong winds and heavy rain. The river near the village swelled, flooding parts of the fields, and several homes suffered minor damage. Villagers rushed to protect their belongings, secure livestock, and repair fences that had collapsed under the force of the water. He did not hesitate. He joined immediately, working tirelessly alongside the villagers. He helped reinforce fences, carry water to prevent flooding, and repair damaged homes. The daughter worked by his side, moving quickly yet carefully, her determination unwavering. Together they coordinated tasks, shared tools, and encouraged others to remain calm and focused. Through the storm, he saw another side of her, her resilience, leadership, and ability to remain composed under pressure. He realized that admiration alone was not enough. True connection required witnessing and supporting each other through challenges. He felt pride in their teamwork and a deep respect for her strength and character. When the storm finally passed, the village had sustained some damage, but the people were safe. Exhausted yet relieved, he and the daughter sat near the stream, cleaning mud from their hands and sharing a quiet moment. "You handled everything well," she said softly, her eyes reflecting both fatigue and respect. "You did not hesitate and you worked as if the village were your own. That is rare." He smiled, though tired. "It was not about me. It was about helping everyone stay safe." "We all needed to work together," she nodded. "Yes, but your heart and actions mattered. You did not just help, you inspired others to act as well. That is why people trust you." Her words filled him with a quiet warmth. He realized that this experience had not only strengthened their bond, but also deepened his understanding of what it meant to connect with someone. It was not about convenience or fleeting emotions. It was about shared experiences, mutual respect, and genuine care. In the following days, life in the village slowly returned to normal. Repairs were completed, fences reinforced, and crops salvaged. Through it all, he and the daughter continued their daily routines together, but now there was a subtle shift in their relationship. They moved with ease around each other, their conversations richer, their laughter more frequent, and their shared moments more meaningful. One evening, as the village gathered for a communal meal, the elderly woman approached him quietly. She placed a hand on his shoulder and looked him in the eyes. "You have proven your heart through action, patience, and understanding," she said. "You have not only helped my daughter but also earned the respect of the village. That is no small thing. Keep learning, keep helping, and keep your heart open. The bond you are forming is rare and valuable." He felt a deep sense of gratitude. "Thank you. I will continue to do my best for the village and for her." She nodded and smiled, a small gesture that carried approval and hope. From that moment, he understood that their connection was moving beyond simple admiration. It had transformed into something deeper, a bond built on shared experiences, respect, and trust. He felt a quiet confidence that, if nurtured, this relationship could grow into something meaningful and lasting. As he walked back to his resting place that night, the stars twinkling above, he reflected on the past weeks. What had started as a simple act of helping a woman by the stream had blossomed into a journey of discovery, connection, and understanding. He had found not only a friend and companion, but also a sense of purpose and belonging that he had never known before. He realized that life had brought him to this village for a reason. Every act of kindness, every moment of patience, and every shared conversation had led him here. And now, with the daughter by his side, her laughter, her wisdom, and her heart intertwined with his own, he felt ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. He also understood that love and connection were not things that could be forced or rushed. They grew slowly, nurtured by respect, shared experiences, and genuine care. And he knew, deep in his heart, that this bond, formed through simple acts of kindness and mutual understanding, had the potential to last a lifetime. Life in the village was peaceful, yet it was not without its challenges. The protagonist had grown more comfortable with the daily routines, the people, and most importantly, the daughter of the elderly woman. Their bond had strengthened through shared work, conversations, and even the storm that had tested both their patience and their courage. But he soon realized that understanding the village and the people he cared about would require more than just good intentions. It would require adaptability, respect, and the ability to face unexpected obstacles with patience. One morning, as the sun rose and bathed the village in a soft orange light, he noticed the daughter struggling with a task in the field. Several goats had wandered into the newly planted crops, and she was trying to guide them back without hurting them or damaging the plants. He rushed to her side, offering to help. Together, they gently steered the animals back to their pen, laughing quietly at the goats' stubborn behavior. It was a simple task, yet it reminded him that village life was filled with small challenges that required cooperation and care. Afterwards, the daughter looked at him thoughtfully. "You adapt quickly," she said. "Many outsiders would not even try to understand our ways. They would see this as a nuisance." He smiled. "I cannot help it. I want to be part of your life here, even if only in small ways." Understanding comes from experience, not observation alone. Her eyes softened and she nodded. "That is true. Life here is simple, yet it tests patience, understanding, and character every day. Those who endure and learn are the ones who truly belong." His days became filled with both work and learning. He helped repair homes, gather food, and assist in teaching the children about basic skills. With each task, he observed the rhythms of the village, the way the villagers relied on each other, how they celebrated small successes, and how they faced difficulties with calm determination. Through this, he began to understand that life here was not just about survival. It was about connection, responsibility, and mutual care. But the challenges were not only physical. One afternoon, a disagreement arose between two families over the division of crops. The tension was subtle at first, a few harsh words exchanged while others watched silently. The daughter noticed his presence and subtly gestured for him to remain calm. She had a way of observing without intervening immediately, allowing situations to reveal themselves before taking action. He understood her approach and watched carefully. The villagers eventually began to speak, sharing their perspectives calmly. He listened, offering advice only when appropriate, suggesting ways to fairly distribute the crops without angering either party. His words were careful, respectful, and rooted in fairness, and gradually the disagreement eased. The daughter looked at him with quiet approval, her eyes reflecting admiration for his patience and judgment. Through moments like these, he realized that understanding the village and its people required more than kindness. It required empathy, insight, and the ability to navigate complex social situations. He began to see the depth of the daughter's wisdom, and he respected her even more for the subtle guidance she offered him. One day, while repairing a roof with a few villagers, he slipped and injured his hand slightly. The pain was sharp, but he did not cry out immediately. The daughter noticed and quickly approached him, concern etched on her face. She cleaned the wound carefully, applied a simple herbal remedy, and wrapped it gently. "You should be more careful," she said softly, her voice a mixture of worry and gentle rebuke. He smiled despite the pain. "I will, thank you for helping me. I am lucky to have someone so thoughtful nearby." Her eyes met his, and in that moment, a deeper understanding passed between them. This bond was no longer just about shared work or casual conversations. It was about trust, care, and knowing that the other person would be there through both small injuries and greater trials. The weeks passed, and he continued to learn, not just from the daughter but from the entire village. He began to understand the subtle traditions, the unspoken rules, and the importance of maintaining harmony in every action. Every day brought new lessons, and every interaction strengthened his respect for the people who had welcomed him so openly. However, not every challenge was simple. One morning, a group of traders from a neighboring area arrived. They were kind enough, but their presence stirred unease among some villagers, who feared that outsiders might not respect their customs. The protagonist recognized that the village's trust in him was being tested indirectly. He approached the situation calmly, introducing himself and explaining his connection to the village and the daughter's family. He also observed the traders' behavior carefully, ensuring that their intentions were honest and harmless. The daughter watched silently from a distance, observing how he handled the delicate situation. His actions were respectful, measured, and thoughtful, showing the villagers that he could navigate unexpected challenges without causing conflict. Gradually, the tension eased, and both the traders and the villagers found common ground, thanks in part to his careful guidance. Through these experiences, he realized that his role in the village was growing beyond simple acts of help. He was becoming someone the villagers could rely on, someone who could bridge understanding between people, and someone who respected their ways while offering support. The daughter's presence continued to be a source of guidance and inspiration, her quiet strength reminding him that true relationships were built on mutual respect and shared responsibility. One evening, after a long day of work, he and the daughter sat by the stream, sharing a quiet meal. The sky was painted in shades of pink and gold, and the gentle flow of water created a serene atmosphere. "You have changed since you arrived," she said softly. "Not just in your actions, but in your understanding. You see things differently now." He nodded. "I have learned more than I expected. Life here teaches patience, care, and how to value connections. You and your village have shown me what it truly means to belong somewhere." She smiled faintly. "And yet, there is still more to learn. Life will always bring challenges, but facing them together makes everything easier." Her words lingered in his mind. He understood that the journey was not over, that the deeper connection he sought would require continued patience, understanding, and resilience. Yet he also felt a quiet confidence, knowing that he had already overcome many obstacles and that the foundation of trust and respect he had built was strong. The elderly woman noticed the bond growing between them as well. She observed quietly, allowing the protagonist to demonstrate his character through actions rather than words. One evening, she approached him with a gentle smile. "You have faced challenges, adapted, and learned the ways of our village," she said. "You have not only helped my daughter, but you have also earned the respect of the people. That is no small thing. Keep your heart open and continue to act with sincerity. That is how true bonds are formed." He felt a surge of gratitude and humility. "Thank you. I will continue to do my best, for the village, for her, and for everything I have learned here." From that moment, he knew that the challenges he had faced, the minor injuries, disagreements, unexpected visitors, and daily work, were shaping him into a person capable of sustaining meaningful relationships. He also understood that his connection with the daughter had grown stronger through these trials. It was no longer simply a matter of admiration or curiosity. It had become a bond forged through shared experiences, mutual respect, and enduring patience. Over the following weeks, he continued to immerse himself in village life. He assisted in planting crops, repairing homes, teaching children, and learning the subtleties of local traditions. The daughter remained a constant presence, her guidance quiet yet profound. They shared laughter, moments of reflection, and the satisfaction of completing tasks together. Each day, their bond deepened, built on understanding, trust, and shared experiences. He realized that true relationships were not formed in a day, nor through grand gestures alone. They grew slowly, nurtured by patience, empathy, and the willingness to face challenges together. And in this village, surrounded by people who valued kindness, honesty, and respect, he had found not only friendship but the beginnings of a connection that could last a lifetime. As night fell and the stars twinkled above the village, he reflected on the journey so far. Every act of help, every challenge faced, and every moment shared with the daughter had brought him closer to understanding the depth of trust, respect, and love. He felt a quiet contentment, knowing that the trials he had faced had strengthened both him and the bond he shared with her. Life in the village was not always easy, but it was meaningful. And through every challenge, he had discovered that true connection, whether with people, a place, or even oneself, was built through patience, care, and unwavering sincerity. The village had settled into its usual rhythm, but for him, life had taken on a new meaning. Every morning, he woke with a sense of purpose, knowing that his actions mattered, not only for himself, but for the people he had come to care deeply about. He had grown in ways he had never imagined. Physically, learning the tasks required for daily life. Emotionally, understanding the depth of patience, trust, and connection. And spiritually, feeling a sense of belonging that went beyond friendship. His bond with the daughter had strengthened steadily. Their relationship was no longer just about shared work or casual conversation. It had become a partnership. They relied on each other, learned from one another, and celebrated small victories together. Whether it was repairing a fence, tending crops, or guiding children in their studies, they worked side by side, laughing when mistakes were made and supporting each other when challenges arose. One morning, as the sun rose softly over the village, he noticed the daughter sitting quietly by the stream, her reflection shimmering in the water. She seemed thoughtful, almost lost in her own world. He approached gently, not wanting to startle her. "Good morning," he said softly. She looked up and smiled. "Good morning. I was just thinking about everything that has happened since you arrived." He nodded. "It has been quite a journey. I have learned more than I expected, and I am grateful for every moment." Her eyes met his, filled with warmth and quiet understanding. And yet, there is still more to learn. Life is never truly complete, but it is the connections we build that make it meaningful. He realized in that moment that she was right. Their shared experiences, both simple and challenging, had created a bond stronger than he could have imagined. But he also understood that life would continue to test them, and true connection required patience, honesty, and mutual respect. That afternoon, the village elders gathered for a meeting. They wished to discuss the upcoming season's work and ensure everyone's roles were clear. He was invited to participate, an honor that showed the respect he had earned. Sitting among the elders, he listened carefully, contributing only when appropriate. He suggested ways to organize the planting and irrigation that would benefit everyone, always mindful of the village's traditions and customs. The elders nodded in approval. "You understand our ways," one of them said. "You have earned the trust of the people and have shown respect for the village and its values. That is no small thing." He felt a deep sense of pride and humility. He realized that his actions over the past weeks had not only helped individuals, but had also strengthened the community as a whole. The daughter, sitting beside him, gave him a subtle smile, reflecting the quiet pride she felt in their shared journey. As days turned into weeks, the bond between them grew even stronger. They shared quiet moments in the fields, exchanged stories by the fire, and supported each other in both work and play. Every interaction deepened their understanding of one another, and the trust that had developed was unshakable. One evening, as the village gathered for a communal celebration, the elderly woman approached him quietly. Her expression was serious yet kind. "You have proven your heart through action, patience, and understanding," she said. "You have not only helped my daughter, but you have also earned the respect of the village. That is rare. Keep your intentions clear, your heart open, and your respect for our ways unwavering." He bowed his head respectfully. "Thank you. I will continue to honor your trust and the lessons I have learned here." Her eyes softened. "Good. The bond between you and my daughter is strong, but it must continue to grow with care, patience, and understanding. That is how true partnerships are formed." The celebration that evening was filled with laughter, music, and the aroma of food cooking over open fires. Children ran freely, playing games that had been passed down for generations. Villagers danced, sang, and shared stories of their ancestors. Amid the joy, he and the daughter found moments of quiet together, exchanging smiles and words that reflected the connection they had built. As the night wore on, he realized that this village had given him more than friendship or companionship. It had given him a sense of purpose, belonging, and the understanding that true relationships were built on respect, patience, and shared experiences. The daughter's presence in his life was no longer a simple coincidence. It was a meaningful connection, nurtured through actions, understanding, and care. Over the next few weeks, they continued to work together, learning from each other and supporting the villagers. He taught small lessons he had learned in his travels, helping children with reading and counting. She shared her knowledge of plants, medicine, and local traditions. Together, they created a rhythm that was both productive and joyful, their bond deepening with every shared experience. One morning, as they worked in the garden, she looked at him thoughtfully. "You have changed," she said softly, "not just in what you do, but in who you are. You have learned patience, respect, and the value of understanding others." He smiled gently. "And I have learned from you as well. You have shown me how to see the world differently, to understand people, and to appreciate the small things that make life meaningful." Her eyes sparkled with warmth. "That is why our bond is strong. We learn from each other and grow together." The days turned into months and the village continued its peaceful rhythm. Through challenges, celebrations, and simple daily life, their connection grew stronger. They had faced trials together, celebrated successes, and learned to understand and support each other in every way. The villagers accepted him fully, not just as a traveler, but as a valued member of the community. Finally, one quiet evening, as the sun set over the village and painted the sky in shades of pink and gold, he sat with the daughter by the stream. The water reflected the colors of the sky, creating a serene and beautiful scene. He took her hand gently, feeling the warmth and trust that had grown between them. "I have learned so much since I arrived here," he said softly. "I have learned about kindness, patience, understanding, and trust. But most of all, I have learned the value of connection, the kind that grows slowly, through shared experiences and respect." She smiled, her eyes reflecting the same warmth and understanding. "And I have learned from you as well. You have shown me that actions speak louder than words, and that true partnership is built on trust, care, and shared effort." He took a deep breath, feeling the weight and beauty of the moment. "I want to continue this journey with you. Not just as friends or companions, but as partners in life, supporting each other, learning together, and building a future based on respect, trust, and love." Her smile widened and she squeezed his hand gently. "I want that too. I have seen your heart, your intentions, and your dedication. I know that together we can face anything and grow stronger each day." In that moment, they both understood that their bond was more than affection. It was a partnership rooted in shared experiences, respect, patience, and unwavering care. It had grown slowly, nurtured by challenges, daily life, and the wisdom of the village, and now it was ready to flourish into a lifelong connection. The elderly woman, watching from a distance, felt a sense of quiet satisfaction. She had seen many travelers come and go, many intentions hidden behind polite words or superficial gestures. But this connection was different. It had been built through actions, patience, and understanding, and it had created something truly lasting. She approached them with a gentle smile, giving her quiet blessing. "You have earned it," she said softly. "May your bond continue to grow, guided by respect, care, and love. Remember the lessons of the village, and you will always find strength in each other." He bowed his head respectfully. "Thank you. I will honor your trust and continue to nurture what we have built together." From that day forward, life in the village continued as usual, but for him and the daughter, everything had changed. They faced challenges together, celebrated joys together, and learned from each other every day. Their bond became an example to the villagers, a story of trust, patience, and the power of kindness. He realized that helping the woman by the stream on his first day had set in motion a journey that went far beyond simple kindness. It had led him to a community, a partner, and a sense of belonging that he had never experienced before. The connection with the daughter was the culmination of all the lessons, experiences, and care he had shared with the village, and it had created a foundation for a life filled with meaning, love, and respect. As the stars twinkled above the village that night, he felt a deep sense of gratitude. He had found more than friendship, love, or purpose. He had found a life enriched by connection, guided by wisdom, and strengthened by shared experiences. And in that quiet, peaceful moment, he knew that he had truly come home.